Thank you so much, Thika Parish, not Thika Town Church, for your presentation. Moderator, this time we can hear the report of missions and board for social responsibility.
Thank you. I had already delegated to Moderator Gadanju to take over.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I think we are almost done from the time we came here. And this is a very, very important document because it is in the area of mission. And mission is our core business. We may have a lot of infrastructures and many good things. But if you remember, Jesus said, go all over the world. So he gave us and commanded us. He never persuaded, but he commanded. And I think this is why, Mr. Moderator, that it is supposed, the moderator is supposed to sit on that because he is our Father in God who commanded us. So thank you for giving me this opportunity to sit on this here. Now I call upon the committee to proceed. Document 6. Document 6.
Document 6 in our dockets. Document number 6. Mr. Moderator and the Assembly, the report of the missions and BSL on document 6, and I think it's being projected. The introduction is there. We'll end by the theme, consider your ways. The bond strategic direction is given with the mission, vision, core values, and the motto, Jitegemea for Mission. The board has a membership of 74 members, drawn from the presbyteries, the officials of the General Assembly, and directorship. The activities within the period under review is that we were able to do 3 statutory board meetings, and through the National Evangelism Committee, in partnership with Pwani Presbytery, we hosted a mission week in Sagala, Nenden area. We had 208 missioners. During that time, Kishamba Church was dedicated. Also, Kwensiro Church was dedicated. We constructed a church for Talio members, which is doing very well. We, in partnership with Ipwani, drilled a bore at Kwensiro in Sagala Nenden area. Door-to-door evangelism took place for in 3 zones. And the bond has also continued to pay school fees for the 4 needy students. We have developed one additional sustainable project at Mother Esther, where we have installed solar power for all buildings. The bond hosted 52 participants in the Missions Partnership Kenya Mission Conference at Mirere, with the theme Mutually Encouraged. The bond has hosted 6 families from Kamboi Home for the Disabled for a family retreat at Milele Hotel in partnership with Johnny and friends. The board has also hosted Beyond Suffering training for 79 participants, sensitizing members about serving people with, who are differently abled, again with the partnership with Johnny and friends. The board has distributed 235 wheelchairs at an outreach in Kajiado, 8 wheelchairs during home visits in Urari, 6 wheelchairs for residents at Togoto Home for the Aged, and 6 wheelchairs to members at the request of parish ministers in partnership with Johnny and friends. 25 walkers and 15 crutches were also distributed. The board has visited to Maini Children's Home to strengthen partnership with the supporters. And the board has supported mission work in Olondo, Kilani, and then area in Kajiado with 3 motorbikes for the evangelists. We have donated food relief as a social responsibility to Gudo Parish to support needy families. In partnership with Nenden Outreach Program, we have constructed Mayahim Buddhist School in Kikuyu Presbytery, that 2 churches and 8 additional classrooms at existing schools. The board hosted a medical camp in Kajiado Presbytery, which provided medical care to 783 people in partnership with the Outreach Foundation, Kikuyu Hospital, and the First Central Presbyterian Church in Texas. Financial support. The majority of financial support comes from the presbyteries. We also receive some financial support from outside partners, which is designated funds. The challenges. The main challenge has been lack of funding to finance the programs and social responsibility requests that we receive. And many presbyteries have pending arrears, which would go a long way in alleviating the financial burdens. We also lack trained personnel in most of the Nenden areas. And with that, I will call upon the chair to second as it was the future plans and the conclusion.
In seconding this report, which is our report, we want to say that we encourage the presbyteries to pay their dues for the Nedeni week, the allocation that is given. They are far too high arrears from many presbyteries that are not yet paid, yet we need that money, because you have heard how we have tried to utilize what we have. We also need to adopt and implement the Nedeni personnel report, activate the NGO Zimatere to support the mission department in resource mobilization, and to develop virtual evangelism program. In conclusion, the year has brought new opportunities and partnerships in mission, along with ongoing challenges. We thank all the presbyteries who fulfill the Great Commission and support the Nedeni areas with the time, energy, and financial resources. We also thank individuals for their support in mission work, and the various committees under the mission board for their diligence and commitment. With those remarks, I second the report.
Questions? We start from this side. Questions from my left. Question? Yes, Reverend Gatua.
Oh, thank you very much, Mr. Moderator, sir. My question is, how can we deploy those ministers to the mission areas, those who are highly learned, such as master's degree and PhD, to shepherd those less educated, spiritually down, instead of sending those who are very much less in performance? Yeah.
Okay. Still on this side. No question. Then we come to this side. Yes, right at the back.
In appreciating the report from the mission desk, how soon do you expect the virtual evangelism classes? Because it is much awaited.
Yes, still we have another hand there.
Moderator, thank you. What happened, Moderator, to the bicycles that were being given to Nenden? And I believe today we do not want to think about bicycles, but motorcycles that used to facilitate the evangelists that are in Nenden areas in their mission work.
Okay. Yes, another question from there.
Thank you, Moderator. And the Assembly, my question is, PCEA as an experienced church in mission, is the department thinking of developing a mission-oriented manual to be used across the whole church, and especially to reach out those who are in Nedeni or the outreaches? Thank you.
Okay. Any other? Okay. Yes, I will request the Secretary to answer the questions.
Mr. Moderator and the Assembly, I will start with question number 4, a mission-oriented manual. We are starting on that. We are in this process of thinking about and starting on the mission handbook. And more to that, the department come next year is planning to go down to the grassroots to for sensitization of people to our people about the mission work, and especially now that we think about reviving the spirit of mission within us. For some time, we have done mission to our own people, which I would call feeding ourselves. It's time now that the church awakes to go out for mission. How soon will be the virtual? It's in the process of making. How can we deploy learned ministers to mission areas? I would say that mission is about calling, but for the deployment, I leave that to the appointments committee. I'll invite the chair to answer the question on the bicycles stroke motorcycles.
The appointments committee assesses the needs of areas in posting personnel. So sometimes we may not look at the papers. There are people who have very good papers, but not very good in mission work. So they would serve somewhere else. There are some who have good papers and can serve in mission areas, and they have a call to do that. And they request that they want to serve in such areas. We remember we had a past moderator, the very Reverend Jeremiah Gitau, who chose to go and serve in a mission area after being the moderator of the General Assembly. And he served, and he still remembered in the Maimahiu areas. So it's more about passion, call, but we wouldn't mind a professor wishing to serve in a mission area. Of course, there are issues of salaries. There must be salaries from the presbyteries, and also maybe support from sometimes the head office in some areas. And a professor is not cheap to pay. They are expensive to pay, and mission areas do not generate adequate resources to pay salaries. So sometimes it's the presbyteries who top up, and sometimes where there are mission areas that are personnel are paid from the head office, particularly Tanzania and Uganda. The ministers in Uganda and Tanzania are paid from the head office through the mission budget. However, we would wish that people would have a call to mission, although we would encourage that even when people have a call to mission, they be facilitated, because that would be the best way to approach mission. In regard to motorbikes, we feel like bicycles have been overtaken, and we haven't bought any, neither received any donation. Motorbikes, we have bought a number and distributed them. We have also received motorbikes from partners. We have received a number and we have tried to distribute them according to the needs. So sometimes we had more resources we would buy, but we still talk with partners. You remember a few years ago, the Presbyterian Church in Canada twice donated a number of motorbikes, which we distributed. We still can also buy our own ourselves. If we had the money that moderator is held in arrears in a number of presbyteries, if we had that money, we could direct a chunk of it in buying motorbikes to facilitate workers in mission areas. Thank you.
Okay, comments? Yes, Reverend Kabuba.
Thank you for a good report. Because of my duty as Teachers Education Secretary, I've visited schools, and one of the best schools in this country in terms of facilities is Maimahiu Booth School. It cannot match any. But when you know that the Presbyterian Nedeni Outreach Program has built that school, then the school belongs to the public. You wonder, suppose the church donated land, we will be having one of the best, where we can develop academy, where we can have a youth mentorship program. I request that in future, when we have such donors, we do it to be Presbyterian school rather than a sponsored school, and we have such a big facility. So let us encourage when the donors come, instead of having a public school, we have enough public school. What we don't have is Presbyterian schools that can match what Alliance was before the government came in, what other schools like Thika High School was before the government came in. Let us own those schools. Let us not make them public. Thank you very much.
Okay, yes, Reverend Gere.
Thank you, Moderator of the Assembly. It is a concern out of that report because our core area, the mission work and also social responsibility, we can hear from the report of the underfunding area. And in the spirit of now the theme that we have for 24th General Assembly, the issue of serving. And you cannot go to serve without being enabled. And we can see within the period of the review what this board did and what they were able to realize. Because that's the impact that we want to create in the community. There is the need to look to ourselves and give it another direction of the approach. Because now they are talking of the arrears. And we know when we talk about, we are now in the assembly, and the needs are still there. There is the need now for us to address the issue and address the core area concerning the mission of the church.
Okay. And then we come on this side, Reverend Gazairo, Dr. Gazairo.
Thank you, Moderator, and the Assembly, and also for the report that is before us. When you look at the report, we have done quite well on equipping and giving the tools for doing the mission. As a church, we need to think of how we can be able to raise our homegrown missionaries. We go cross-cultural. It appears as here we are so much thinking about ourselves, the home mission itself. But going across as it is in our Great Commission, going to all corners of the earth, we need to emphasize and to encourage our people. This in mind, somebody like the late Godowagadu, when I worked in Pwani, who at my retirement, the work he did in Tanzania, John Kenodoni. That's what I have in mind, that we need to encourage our people and to become missionaries, homegrown missionaries, and how we can be able to grow them and how we can be able to facilitate them in order to fulfill and to be obedient to the Great Commission. Thank you, Monitor.
Thank you. Yes, behind you. Behind you.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator and the General Assembly. Just two thoughts. Statistically speaking, 80% of Christians alive today, they got saved before the age of 20. Those are statistical data out in the open. What am I saying? I would like to see my church being more deliberate in reaching out to schools and universities and colleges, because it's a small window period of 20 years. That brings me to my second thought. 21st century evangelists ought to be creative and innovative. Jesus in the Great Commission told us what to preach, what to say, where to go, but not how. The how has always been left open for the day and age believers. I suggest things like sports evangelism. Those are very powerful tools, especially to the youth. And about the window period. So I'm praying that we shall be innovative and bold to try some of these things that have been in the archives or left for others to do as we watch. Thank you.
Reverend Bogwa.
Mr. Moderator, sir, I feel like our problem is not money, but I think it is more of attitude. As we talk, we talk as if it is the business of this department to fulfill the Great Commission, and it is not ours. I think we need to change our attitude so that we see it as our responsibility wherever we are. And I think that is why you hear that there are unended areas without ministers, and the presbyteries are saying they should not be given a minister, yet in the same presbytery, they are doing mega projects instead of directing at least part of towards mission. So I think we need to change our attitude and embrace mission as our responsibility and not a responsibility by the department itself alone, but by all of us. So change of attitude, I think, is is what we need to have. Thank you.
Reverend Kariuki.
Moderator, sir, there is a model that has been used by presbyteries to develop the mission areas that we call twining, where the parishes in the presbytery get a cluster of congregations in the mission area, and it has really worked. I have interacted with 3 Neden areas, Kibwezi, Mashuru, and Waso Kedong, and I have seen them growing in mission and capacity building. I'm pleading to this General Assembly to really plead with the presbyteries to use that model. Rather than complaining about Nedenis that are not growing, we can embrace that form of local partnership. Thank you.
Reverend Degwa.
Moderator, sir, in the Assembly, as one of the people who are serving the mission area, I think I need just to make one statement, that if we are going to go mission, we must be deliberate, we must be focused, and we must do things not the way we have been doing them. I am convinced, Moderator, sir, that very few of us ordained ministers will dare go and serve in the mission area. It requires a lot of grace. Nobody maintains your car. Nobody cares how you fuel your car to miles and miles, and they are there serving. There is that request in the moderator's report. We need to ordain the evangelists in those areas. I'm in Mas Island. I have started learning Masai. The next appointment, I'm in Northeastern, learning Saburu. The next appointment, you are in Kisumu, learning to speak Ruo. You lose direction of mission work. So, Moderator, sir, I think the most important thing in mission is to do what the Americans do. We ordained the evangelists, but we can call them commissioned elders. They can do baptize, they can bury, they can minister, they can do their work in the mission area. But unfortunately, Moderator, sir, I have not been in this church for too long, but for the last 2 decades, we have had even my colleagues who are here, who went to college as ministers ordained for mission areas. Then you send them to St. Andrews, and you want to send them back to Esakidong. Who can go? It beats the logic. So why don't we capitalize on those people who are in the mission area, ordain them, but also give them supervision to be able to get themselves grounded in ministry. Because majority of us, history have proved that going to mission area, it is because you are not either educated or you have a challenge. But I thank God, not the challenge. It is the challenge to go and serve. Thank you, Minister. Well,
Yeah. Yes, there is a hand here.
Thank you, Moderator and the Assembly. And we want to appreciate the department for the work they are doing. We want to ask how the board, the mission board, can revive the twining of Uganda mission area regions and also revive the mission out there. We sometimes feel like we are desolate.
The burden is with us. It's not with the committee, but the presbyteries. Let us change the attitude and see that we fulfill the Great Commission. Now, resolutions, and if there is anything that you can comment, you can do.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator and the Assembly. Taking the gospel to the corners of the world needs wheels, and the wheels of the gospel is resources. At times we struggle with the little we get from the presbyteries to run the programs, and it's quite difficult. Right now, the presbyteries are over 42 million shillings in arrears. If that money came forth, as a department, we can move to another level to make sure that we reach more. Before I give the resolutions, Mr. Moderator, allow me to recognize in the House, we have Reverend Doreen Kariuki, who is the Deputy Director. Moderator, sir, allow her to say hi as she stands. Okay, thank you. Okay. The resolutions. 1, this GA receives the report of the Mission and Social Responsibility Board together with the audited accounts with appreciation. Agreed?
Okay.
2, this GA instructs the presbyteries with arrears to remedy the same to enable the department to run the programs and the social responsibility.
Agreed?
This GA instructs the Department of Mission and Social Responsibility to structure a sustainable funding model to support evangelists and ministers for Nenden areas in collaboration with the Business Committee.
Agreed? Any addition? Yes, Reverend Kabuba?
This GA notes with appreciation the good work of putting up both schools, which are handed over to the public. Further, the GA instructs the Nigerian board to enter into the PPP, public-private partnership arrangement, rather than making the school remain public.
Do we agree with that one? Silence means...
Yeah, okay.
Oh, okay. Let us say something concerning that.
Thank you, Moderator and the court. We don't have full control over what happens with the booth schools because the money comes from a donor and it doesn't come to the department, it comes to NOP. So while we often advise, sometimes they take our advice. We have 2 private schools, one at Ongata Chapel and one at Matasia, and 2 public booth schools, one at Kanjero and the one you have mentioned. So we are doing our best, but that one I don't think can be a resolution because it is not in our control. Please.
Have information.
Dropped.
The information is we can remove the word instruct. We use the encourage. Because what she has said, that they don't have full control. The same. That's why PPP means no one has control.
Do we agree with him? No, okay. Any other? Yes. Reverend Bogo?
Thank you, moderator and the assembly. Mine is this GA appreciates the good work done by the department in mission work. Further, this GA urges the department to develop a well-researched mission manual or handbook and report to the next GAC.
Agreed? No? Okay. Thank you for the good report. Can we clap for them? Welcome and thank you very much.
Mr. Moderator.
Thank you.
Mr. Moderator,
yes.
I want to appeal to the grace of the chair to allow the resolution of Dance Committee to convene for the final report.
Sorry?
I appeal to the grace of the chair to allow the resolution of Dance Committee to meet now.
Okay, resolution of thanks committee to meet the chair. He will show you where you are meeting. Okay, next item.
Thank you, moderator. Sorry, we were consulting. I left a different moderator here. So
the real one has come.
So Mheshimiwa amekuja. So asante sana. So moderator, with your indulgence, we can have the report of the foundation.
Foundation, take the podium.
Moderator, sir, thank you so much for this opportunity to allow the Presbyterian Foundation to give its report to the 24th General Assembly. I'll start with a brief introduction on who the Presbyterian Foundation is. This is a limited company that was incorporated on the 18th of September in 1973. It's a company that is wholly owned by the PCEA. It is regulated by the Companies Act, that's number 17 of 2015, the Constitution of Kenya, and the PCEA Practice and Procedure Manual. The membership of this company is derived from the 61 presbyteries who have appointed a board of directors. There are 13 in number, and we are also pleased to report that in this last financial year, we were able to appoint the chair, Elder Charles Karigithu, and we held also our annual general meeting on the 28th of March 2024. Just to also explain, the board does fulfill its mandates through board committees. We have 3 committees. One, we have the Finance, Investments and Strategy Committee. This is chaired by Elder Paul Ngugi, who represents Rift Valley region. We also have the Human Resource and Operations Committee. This is chaired by Elder Esther Dirango, who is also the deputy chairperson of this company, of the company, yes. Then we also have the Milele Hotels Management Committee that is in charge of the management of the 2 hotels. That's the Milele Nairobi and the Milele Mombasa Hotel. And in this particular committee, we have Elder John Kang'ethe, who is the chair of that subcommittee. The Presbyterian Foundation is the company that holds all the properties of the church in trust, both movable and immovable. And we are pleased to report that we have properties in Kenya, Tanzania, and Uganda. For Uganda, moderator sir, we have a Presbyterian Foundation Limited that was incorporated on the 4th of May 2001, regulated under the laws of Uganda. It serves the PCEA Uganda Church, which is part of the Sugar Belt Presbytery. During this year under review, we are delighted to report that we managed to register 2 properties in Mulago and Lukuli, and we are also in the process of finalizing with the rest. For Tanzania, plans are still underway to register our properties. We have 9 in number, and once we're able to do that, we shall update you on the same, but we trust we should be able to register the Presbyterian Foundation Limited also in Tanzania. In Kenya, we are pleased to report that in our portfolio, currently we have 3,070 title deeds. We have 381 motor vehicles. This year under review, we have managed to acquire 93 title deeds, those are properties. We have also acquired 25 motor vehicles and managed to dispose of 8. We have also managed to acquire a property management system, which would really come in handy to automate our land records and also transactions. We shall soon be launching the same system to the presbyteries, where we'll have the processes being initiated from there, and it will make our land transactions more easier and efficient. And we really request your support as we start this, as we're also trying to follow the footsteps of the Kenyan government, who have now rolled out the Ardhi Sasa and digitized their systems. Moderator, sir, there are also statutory obligations in respect of property that would like to bring to the attention of our members. One is things like the land rates, which are payable on or before 31st of March every year. Land rent to the Ministry of Lands, which is supposed to be paid every 31st of January every year. And you'll note failure to pay these payments, they accrue very punitive interest rates of up to 3% per month on compounded interest. We also have an issue with electricity bills because we have one PIN as a church, since legally we are recognized as one entity, and you'd find that some presbyteries have been inconvenienced from time to time when some don't pay their bills on time. We are trying to regularize the same. Perhaps these are some of the issues we shall raise with the government to see how they can identify our bills using the land registration numbers. But in the meantime, we really request the presbyteries to ensure that electricity bills are paid on time. We also have an issue with borehole permits, where most of us have not yet updated their permits, and currently as a church, we are not in a position to obtain any license to drill a borehole due to these areas. So we really request the presbyteries to ensure that these borehole payments are made on time. We are also pleased to report that in our properties we have managed to, acquired, we have income generating projects. One, we have educational institutions, the numerous Presbyterian schools. Those are the Alliances, the Poya, the Rubate, among other institutions that are sponsored or managed by the PCEA. We have also invested in the hospitality industry. We have the Milele hotels, the Wargates, the Tumaini Hotel in Nakuru, among many others within our presbyteries. We also have invested in hospitals. We have the 3 main hospitals, that's the Kikuyu Hospital, Chogoria, and Tumutumu Hospital, among other clinics and dispensaries. We also have commercial malls, rental properties, and office spaces like the Milele Ngong Mall, Ruiru Quickmart, among many others that we have. One of the key mandates of the Presbyterian Foundation is ensuring that the church does maximize on getting returns, because our main objective is to ensure that from the returns we make or revenues we generate, we are able to support the mission work for that church, for the church. That's the objective of why our forefathers incorporated this entity. We had taken time to analyze last financial statements for the 3 hospitals, and you will realize with the 3 hospitals, they generate a combined gross revenue of 1.945 billion. Yet, in that last financial year, they made a deficit of about 9.6 million. This is an indicator that there is need for the church to monitor its investments. We urge that, as envisioned in our constitution, through its secretary of the health board, that the hospitals do submit quarterly revenue reports through the DSG to the Presbyterian Foundation Board to ensure that we have checks and balances and for monitoring purposes. We have also guaranteed several facilities, that is loan facilities, that presbyteries, institutions have acquired in that last financial year. You'll note that the Presbyterian Foundation has now guaranteed in just that last year a sum of 288,261,917. It is also worth to note that the board has really called upon you to exercise caution in taking up additional loans, as lending rates have increased, now ranging between 17 to 19%. We also request the presbyteries to monitor the loan facilities within their jurisdiction and request for quarterly reports to ensure that we have no loans that are going on default. Currently, as a Presbyterian Foundation, we have 3 major loans. Those are loans that we've borrowed and guaranteed, all amounting to 1.658 billion. One, we have the loan for the development of the Milele luxury apartments with NBK, which currently stands at 754 million. We also have a loan of 574 million for the development of the Milele Ngong Mall. This is a loan that was borrowed by the foundation from KCB. We also have a loan facility that we've guaranteed for the Poya University at 330 million from Cooperative Bank. I would like to highlight as a point of concern from the foundation the loan facility for the development of the Milele Ngong Mall. This is a loan facility that was taken sometime in 2012 for the construction of a mall that was being done by the Ngong parish. This particular loan initially was 402 million. The Presbyterian Foundation is the borrower of this loan, so as a church we are the ones who have borrowed this particular facility. Currently, the loan balance, it has grown to 574 million. We make monthly repayments of 6.4 million, which payment, when you do the calculation, only goes towards servicing the interest, which means after 15 years, we'll not have touched anything on the principal sum. Currently, the loan is in arrears because the revenues the mall is generating is not sufficient to repay this particular mall, because we are currently generating about 2.9 million. So what is the proposed way forward? We had discussions on this matter in the board, and we also discussed the same at the AGM, because as we go on like this loan is not only going to affect that particular mall, but will also affect us as a church because it is borrowed by the foundation. The current loan is at 574 million, just like I had explained. And when we looked at strategies of how we could deal with this particular facility, the only option we could see viable is dispose of a property that we can use to utilize the proceeds generated to reduce the loan to a manageable level. So we went to the extent of identifying a property that is just quite adjacent, belonging to Hadassah Trinity Center, which we are yet to do the valuations, but the valuation would bring more than 200 million. So if we're able to generate about that 200 million to reduce this loan, with an outstanding balance of 374 million, the loan would now be serviceable from the revenues generated from the mall. So I just thought it is good to highlight that because there is a resolution we've brought to that effect. The other bit is registration of PCA-owned entities. During the year under review, we have managed to register various business names under the Presbyterian Foundation to either operate as schools or dispensaries. We wish to advise our presbyteries and parishes to ensure that all business entities or institutions are registered under the Presbyterian Foundation. We've had challenges whereby schools that are trading in the name of PCA, but the business name is registered under the name of elders, perhaps for lack of knowledge, but it is good that we have those business names registered under the Presbyterian Foundation. We've also had challenges of schools operating with no registration. If you've not registered that business name, it does not belong to you. So when you come after to register and that name is not available, it's unfortunate that any other person can come and register and start trading with it, or you'll not be able to register it after. So we really request that you check on how your schools have been registered so that we ensure that we have complied with the same. As I'd mentioned earlier, the foundation has also invested in the hospitality industry, and notably we have the 2 hotels. That's the Milele Nairobi Hotel. Maybe you can go to the next slide. Yes, thank you. For the Milele Nairobi Hotel, we are pleased to report that the revenues have really significantly improved. We had a surplus of 2.8 million during the last year, and this year under review, we have a surplus of 14.6. So there's an upward trajectory in terms of the revenues. For the Milele Beach Hotel, we also pleased to report that there's a significant improvement, where initially in the year 2022, we had realized a surplus of 13.3 million, and currently we have realized a surplus of 22.2 million. We have also shared a comparative analysis for the last 4 years, and you can see from the hotels, there has been an upward trajectory when it comes to the revenues they have generated. And we thank God for the support He has given us, and also the support we have received from the presbyteries, parishes, because like in Mombasa, your 60 or 80% of our business actually comes from you, and we really thank you for that. In Mombasa, we also have the Milele Luxury Apartments project. As I'd mentioned before, this particular project has an outstanding loan facility of 754 million with NBK. That was as at January of 2024. And this last financial year, the board has worked tirelessly on the implementation of this particular project. We've managed to obtain the building approvals required to start the project from the county government of Mombasa, the NEMA licenses, and we are now embarking on the construction of the project. And perhaps maybe just to update something that has recently happened, there are also very good discussions that have been happening in the Nairobi region, and we are quite optimistic that we should be able now to resolve this long outstanding issue. For the rental properties, during the last second general GAC of the 23rd General Assembly, we were delighted by the decision that was made to hand over the rental properties to the Presbyterian Foundation. We confirm that the said properties were now handed over with effect from October 2023, and we shall be reporting on the same in the next GAC, together with the loan obligations attached to the rental income that the Presbyterian Foundation is servicing on behalf of the head office. For Kairete Limited, we are pleased to report that we have now onboarded the new directors of the company, and we have also managed to have the company a subsidiary of the Presbyterian Foundation. The transition did happen, and we'll also now be reporting on the same from the next GC. I believe the financials of Kairete were presented by the Finance Committee, who have been running the same. For Church Property and Development Committee, we did manage to hold the inaugural Church Property and Development Committee at the national level. This is a committee that had not managed to sit for very many years, and we intend to make it quite active so that we are able to really come up with very good structures when it comes to our properties and the developments we undertake as envisioned in our constitution. We'd also like to report on the legal matters against the church. Moderator, sir, we have a very big concern here because as the church is growing, you'd realize we attract a lot of interest from other parties. We are sued. At times there are cases that are beyond our control. At times it is us who have to take people to court, maybe for encroachment in land matters. And currently, we have a lot of cases that are still active, actually about over 200 cases. And if today those cases are settled against us, because when you have a court matter, it's not guaranteed you will win, we face a possible settlement of 454 million. and have not factored in the acreage in terms of the properties would lose, especially on cases that touch on property. Currently, we have an exposure of legal fees because we've had to instruct various firms to represent us, and for this last year under review, we have legal fees outstanding of about 19,748,151. During the last AGM and also at the GSC, we had resolved to have each parish, we had brought a resolution for each parish to contribute about 50,000 per year to supplement the Presbyterian Foundation budget and to enable the foundation handle the legal matters by establishing a legal department. Unfortunately, the said resolution was not passed at the GSC, and this issue remains a challenge. As you'll note, even in our audited accounts, our auditors are concerned that the foundation has many liabilities more than the expected revenue. It is therefore prudent that we revisit this issue. It might have a cost, but in one way or another, we are all affected by this. Many of you have come to the offices asking how do we attend to this matter, a legal challenge, and unfortunately, you'd find even when a case touches on a particular parish or congregation, the auctioneers come to execute at the head office because legally we are one entity, our officials sit at the head office, so at times we have had inconveniences happen because of probably the case has not been managed well, and it is also good as a church, we have a contingency plan to avoid being surprised by auctioneers, yet this case was in court for 3-5 years, yet we had not planned on a negative outcome. As a secretariat, we are working on expansion of the secretariat with the aim of ensuring that all presbyteries are well supported and issues raised from time to time are handled within the shortest time possible. As currently we have a lean team, but we have gone as we try and increase the same. I'll now request the chair of the board to come and conclude and also second the report. Thank you.
Moderator, sir, thank you very much, our fellow commissioners of the 24th General Assembly. Please allow me to make a couple of comments before I second the report. Can go? Thank you very much, moderator. I will start where? Let us serve. Let us serve with integrity. This is captured in Proverbs 11:13, and I read it in two versions. The integrity of the upright guides them, but the unfaithful are destroyed by their duplicity. Honesty guides good people. Dishonesty destroys treacherous people. One of the rewards of integrity is pleasing the heart of God. We show our love to God through obedience. Let us serve in stewardship. Christian stewardship is the practice of selfless managing everything we have. Let us serve with honesty. Honesty is a character quality, is a sign of the Spirit's work in our soul. Fellow commissioners, I will just highlight, I'll run a little across all institutions just to give a glimpse of what...
Much as I had been magnanimous to allow that you make some comments, because of time, would you just, restrict yourself to the report, maybe the final parts of the report, and so that you can second.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll skip over just very quickly in terms of the institutions we have, because these institutions we have invested well. As a church, we have invested very well. However, the challenge that we are facing is generation of incomes out of this institution. And just take a look at one instant. The 3 hospitals we have, they run a turnover of 2.2 billion shillings in the current, I think what the secretary has read is in terms of the 2021-2022, but 2022-2023, they have run, and that's in your current docket, they have run in a turnover of 22,200,000,000, giving us a profit of 78 billion for the 3 of them. That's 3.5%. Look at the two institutions, look at the 2 hotels. With a turnover of 153 million, it gives you 36 million as profit. That's 23%. Fellow commissioners, this assembly, I think there are serious questions we need to ask ourselves so as to ensure that we deal with the issues that we have ahead of us. It is not poverty, it is not lack of money. Because if they are run properly and there is good accountability, I know we will be able to manage those numbers. So there is need to look at issues from a change strategy point of view and ensure that these institutions are contributing enormously to the foundation or for the church work, because whatever comes to the foundation really goes at the end of the day to the church. More important, let us gear ourselves towards what we all have ahead of us and do what is right, because when we do what is right, we shall achieve what our desired objective is. In conclusion, the Presbyterian Foundation Board, the entire fraternity is committed to a strict adherence to the relevant procedures and policies that start of the process, during the process to the logical conclusion, to ensure achievement of the set goals by all stakeholders. Moderator, sir, with these few remarks, I beg to second. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you. Give them a clap. Well, questions now are allowed, starting on the left. There is a hand here of our sister here.
Thank you, moderator and the assembly. From their report, they have talked about we are not able to proceed on the drilling of the borehole because there are some outstanding areas on the permits. I would like to ask, what measures are you taking to ensure this is overcome? And do you have a system, a centralized system that is to help to curb this in future, that will help to track on such issues when it comes to the permits? Thank you.
Thank you. Make your questions brief, because I see a number of hands. Can I see on this side? You can see how many there are. And it gets to a point where I decide to overlook because of time. So please, if you get the opportunity, utilize it, realizing there are others who would also want to speak. Reverend Munyambo.
Thank you, moderator and the court. My question is, wouldn't you, rather than having the pool that you are recommending of the 50,000 from every parish, that you move the foundation just from being a board to a service center whereby the parishes and the other businesses have to register with you and get probably a certificate, even if it's not physical, so that you can be able to also to generate your own income rather than depending on the various businesses that we have?
Reverend Kanga.
Thank you, moderator. In the docket of the foundation, they have stated that they are in an advanced stage of starting a bank. And yet, the figures that has been presented, it shows that they are negative 2 billion. Can they think of starting a bank at negative 2 billion? That question number one. Question number two, Moderator Sir, is that line 6.2, that was not projected by the Secretary, states that the said project, this is now Milele apartment, is being financed by the National Bank. This is document 12, 6.2. Is it true that the National Bank is financing the project as a document contains? Moderator, sir, the other question.
Oh, you had so many, and yet let's be mindful of others.
Yes.
Much as
the other question I'm asking, the intention of selling a property that will fetch 200 million so that they can reduce the liability of Milele Gong to 3. They started by saying that the debt was 450. It has grown to 5. So is there any possibility that once they sell the project, they eject to the debt from 370 million? Will it grow again and then you lose the property that we sold? The last question, Moderator, is that
no,
the figures that...
give out the mic, give out the mic, please. Give out the mic. Evan Buchemi, you can light that question and pass it to somebody on the other side.
Thank you, Moderator. I want to ask Foundation. Yesterday, Late Training asked for their track, and because Foundation are the owner of all what we own, my question is, with the theme of serving the Lord, when will the Late Training get their track so that they can use it to serve the Lord? When will they get their track so that they can use it to serve the Lord or the money?
Thank you, Moderator. When we listen to the chairman of Foundation, he's insinuating that there is a possibility, if that kind of billions is what you are getting and the profit is that, then money is getting some loopholes. Is it that the boards that we have entrusted then have been compromised?
Reverend Woody.
Thank you, Moderator, and the Assembly. Twice I have heard the issue of the Milele apartments being connected with the Nairobi Legion. Is it good that we know what is exactly happening between the Legion and the apartments? Because we are not aware.
Dr. Mubui.
Thank you, Moderator. Mine has been a concern, and I want the Foundation to respond. If you go to some of the parishes, they have magnificent parish offices. Ironically, if you go to the head office, some of the officials of the GA are sitting in squeezed offices, and especially the DSG and the finance officer. The Moderator and the SG, top officials of the General Assembly, the offices do not have washrooms. They have to go out and mix with other people. Can the Foundation consider refurbishing those offices so that there can be privacy in those top offices?
Thank you, Moderator. Mine is a concern. Many parishes, presbyteries have rental buildings that are registered under the Foundation. And the Kenya Revenue Authority is very robust right now in collecting access. So we are in danger of our properties being taken, or the KRA coming here because of those properties. Are we paying monthly rental tax? What is the Foundation doing to ensure that all our properties are paying the monthly rental taxes? Because it's an exposure.
Okay. Elder Juru, in that order.
Again, I asked because of school being registered under Presbyterian Foundation. How safe our school registered as business under Presbyterian Foundation, putting our eggs, all of them in one basket, rather than registering them under NGO or Uzima Tele as mission? What is the possibility? Will either be on mission? You'll answer that one, please.
Pass the mic before you. No. I had given the order. It's Elder Joru now. You are not Elder Joru.
Thank you, Moderator, and the members of the General Assembly. Mine is two questions. One is a question on the issue of reporting. Why are these investment institutions reporting directly to the GA instead of reporting to Foundation, which is the investment arm of the Presbyterian Church? The other one is why are we having this issue of debts passed on to Foundation when the resolution was only to hand over the rental income to Foundation?
Reverend Jero now. That's your name. You have two mics.
Thank you, sir. My question is, what is the body doing to enforce and discourage the encroachment of our PCA land for those who want to grab?
Okay. Reverend Maige.
Mr. Moderator, I want to be advised. To the best of my knowledge, Jabavu flats were put up with through shareholding from presbyteries, from church groups, and so on. Do we have meetings for the shareholders? Do they get dividends? Jabavu flats.
Reverend Doria.
Thank you, Moderator and the Assembly. Considering that the PCEA previously sold its properties to try and recover other properties, we sold the SG's residence, we sold the Lavan Rad, and we even seeded Mission Lad to try and offset loans. Why are we trying to take the same route to try and save Mirere Gong, and what guarantees are there? And then CAC TV has not reported anywhere. I had hoped that they would be under this report, and it cannot be seen in your report. And you have told us about Kairete Limited, and yet there is no anything else apart from that the board of directors was changed. What did you do with our Kairete money? Thank you.
Elder Karanja, and there is another hand there.
Thank you, Moderator. The Assembly, having been in hotel industry, how comes you are not considered to offer catering during this GA? Is it that you don't have the capacity?
Dr. Inaina.
Thank you, Moderator and the Assembly. We really appreciate what Presbyterian Foundation is doing. And my humble question is whether there is any relationship between the lots of monies and the work they are doing and the reaching out of the gospel.
I still see a number of hearts. I choose to be blind because of the constraint of time. So let's first hear the answers, because I see there are quite a number of hearts. I know this is an area that will require a little more time, but again we have to agree that the day is learning, yet it is the final day. But you didn't bring a resolution of extending to tomorrow. Go ahead.
Thank you, Moderator, sir. I hope I have captured all the questions so that I can be able to answer them comprehensively. I'll start with the first question on the issue of the borehole, the arrears that we have accumulated. What measures are we taking, and do we have a centralized system to track on the permits? Currently, yes, we don't have a centralized system, and that is one of the things we are hoping that the property management system will help us to track such payments and those obligations that are there. There is a letter that was done by the Office of the Secretary General on the 6th of March 2024 to request for those payments to be updated. We also send out letters and forms called statutory forms, whereby every presbytery should ensure that every year they give us returns in terms of the status of the property, in terms of disputes, in terms of whether they have done things like the borehole, so that we can be able to track. So the property management system will be able to track those obligations. On the issue of the pool, the 50,000 we have requested, whether we can move to foundation to be a service center whereby we would have people contribute and generate income. You will note that the foundation, all the presbyteries are members. So when we have financial challenges, like any other company limited by guarantee, you go back to your members to see how that can be bridged out. And we are trusting that if you're able to pull these resources together, it will help us, one, clear the big debt that we have, and also create a legal department to manage the cases that we have. On the issue of starting a bank, yes, we had mentioned when you look at our portfolio in terms of the assets that we have and the revenues we are generating as a church, it is high time we consider starting a bank. Yes, the foundation has reported a loss of about 112 million, and when you look at our financial statements, it's because we have an interest payment of about 148 million for the Milele apartments with no revenue to support. That is what has caused that deficit, or rather that loss. But the request of starting a bank is not just from the foundation, but as a church, it is high time we consider the same. On the issue of the project being financed by National Bank, yes, this project we have a loan that was given to us by National Bank. We have also put in our application to see whether we can secure funds for the project, the other phase B in terms of finishing of the project. So yes, the National Bank of Kenya is still our financier in this particular project. The intention to sell the property of 200 million to reduce the loan, whether there is a possibility that the 374 million will remain, would still grow. Yes, I would be very honest, it's an issue we need to really dissect and look at, one, what mistakes did we, or where did we go wrong for this loan to grow from 402 million to 574. And certainly, if we have to dispose that property, it will not be business as usual, starting from restructuring the management of this particular project, that's the mall, so that we ensure that we maximize on terms of the revenues generated, and they all go towards reduction of the loan. So yes, if not managed well, it can grow. So it is upon us to ensure that we have managed this loan very well, so that we don't go back to the same place we have. Yesterday, there's somebody who asked about the late training truck. When will the late training get their truck? This has been a contentious issue because, one, we purchased a truck, it was fully paid for, and the truck was not delivered. The particular issue was also taken to the business committee, who authorized the audit committee to report on the same. It is now a legal issue whereby we have to now take legal action because the supplier was paid and did not deliver, and that's an issue now we have to make a claim from that particular supplier. There was a question from what the chair has said about our institutions. One, it seems like our money are getting loopholes or our boards are being compromised. In any business, monitoring a business yourself, because we are the owners, is very important. When we don't have targets, when you don't have performance appraisals, when you don't have expectations from our boards, we'll get the bare minimum. So I will not say our boards are compromised. I would not want to say that, but it is important as the owners of these investments, let us employ very good monitoring tools so that we are able to maximize in terms of the revenues we can generate from these institutions. For the Milele apartments, what is happening between the foundation and Nairobi region? Yes, there are very good positive discussions. The business committee did hold a meeting sometime back last year, and one of the things they resolved is that we need to get a strategic partner to finish this or implement this project. And Nairobi region expressed interest in being a strategic partner. They have expressed willingness to purchase a block of apartment as we partner in terms of the implementation of this project. There are discussions and agreements being discussed. They are still on the discussion stage, but we affirm that we have a good relationship and we have been able to affirm that strategic partnership. There are concerns about parishes have magnificent projects, yet our General Assembly offices are not in good state. Yes, we agree. There is need for refurbishment. Plans are underway. Initially, the foundation was quite disadvantaged in terms of the resources. Right now, at least with the rental income, we have already initiated the plans to refurbish the offices so that at least we can make them up to date. We can have our General Assembly officials staying. They should use good offices. That we agree, and we trust probably before the end of this year, we should be able to actualize that. On the issue of the rental income, yes, this is an obligation that we all need to meet. There are several obligations. In fact, we've had instances whereby people use the VAT or the PIN for the foundation. They file returns, they don't pay. We are trying to come up with mechanism. Even right now, we are trying to sort out a dispute with KRA. It is important when you have the rental incomes generating from the rental buildings you have, that you pay the taxes of the same. So currently the foundation doesn't have an exemption. The head office is working on its exemption, but the exemption comes on the income tax. So it is prudent that you ensure that you pay your monthly taxes. There was an issue about we are putting our eggs on one basket by registering our properties, or rather our entities, in the Presbyterian Foundation. Currently, that is what is provided for in our constitution. The reason why we register in the Presbyterian Foundation is for succession, because when you have an individual, that means it's like their own property. Currently, the Presbyterian Foundation is a limited company by guarantee, and even if you have other entities, we still have to agree, because that is now in our constitution, that all properties, entities should be registered at the Presbyterian Foundation. There was a question on why institutions are reporting to the GA directly instead of through the Presbyterian Foundation. I believe this is a question this General Assembly could resolve so that we can agree, do we want institutions to present directly, or, but I understand, like for the health board, our constitution provides that they present their reports to the health board, but I think that's a decision this General Assembly can make on the same. There was a question on encroachment of land. What are we doing about it? Yes, we have had different parishes, congregations suffer from this. It is good that we be vigilant. One, ensure that you acquire title deeds for the properties that you have. There are some of us who are sitting on our properties with a letter of allotment that is not a title deed. There are some of us who sit on a property and you know very well you don't have even a letter of allotment or no documentations. It is important that when we acquire a piece of land, we always ensure that it has the proper documentations. On the issue of encroachment, let us ensure that we have identified our boundaries very well, so that we don't have any sort of issue coming through encroachment. And if that arises, unfortunately, we would have to go to court to defend our properties. On the issue of Jabavu, yes, this property was bought through shareholding from our members. I understand there are no meetings or dividends that have been given since around 2010. The properties have now been handed over to the foundation. The board is working on how we could reinstate the same so that we can see how to involve the shareholders like that was done in the past. There was a question of, yes, in the past we have sold property to pay off the loan, but unfortunately those loans are not fully paid and we still have those loans outstanding. What guarantees do we have in this case if we sell the Milele, the property adjacent to the Milele Ngong Mall? It will not have the same issue. As I said before, it's an issue of management that is very, very key, so that at any one time we ensure that we've maximized on the revenues we're generating for the mall, so that we go on reducing this facility and not let it accrue. CAC TV, yes, we have not given a report on CAC TV. For CAC TV and Kairete, during this year under review, their financials and they were being managed under the finance committee. I believe right now CAC TV has a CEO who should be reporting in the next GAC on what measures or rather give a report to the church on CAC TV, but in the past we've not been getting a report from CAC TV directly. It was through communication. So for the Kairete, we'll also give our report once the handover now has, from the handover that now means from the next GAC. But for the financial reports of the Kairete monies, I believe that was shared by the finance committee when they did their report. About considering Milele to do the catering, yes, we had also submitted our application, but I would say we are really pleased that, yes, we have accommodated the majority of you. The hotel is full. We have also supplied the water, and kindly support us. You all drink water in your parishes. We have a watering plant, so we are happy that we have also been involved in this General Assembly. Yes, we do have capacity to also do the catering for this particular GA. There was a question on the debts handed over to the foundation when the resolution was only to hand over the rent. Yes, we received the rent together with the rental obligations that had been attached to it, which we have been servicing for the General Assembly. And I believe we are about to finish the same, so that at least now we can be able now to appropriate the revenues that we have received from the rental income. There was a question, though I didn't get it quite well, the relationship between the loss of money and our mission work. Yes. I don't know, Moderator Sir, perhaps
What was the question?
the relationship between...
Who had asked?
There's a lady who had asked.
Dr. Wainaina now who? What was your question?
Maybe you can repeat.
I was saying we are doing very well financially with foundation, and I was asking whether there is a relationship between the monies we are receiving and the spreading of the gospel.
Do you support mission? Maybe that's the question.
Yes, ideally that's the objective of the foundation. We are supposed to ensure that the church has generated sufficient money to support the mission work. Currently, I would be honest, we've not done much in terms of supporting the mission because of the liabilities that we have. But in the last year, we supported the mission department when we had the mission week in Pwani, and we contributed towards the construction of a church. But certainly we need to still do more because that is our core objective. Thank you.
Yes, in the next year, Watatenga. Okay. We will receive a few comments from those who may not have asked questions. So if you had asked a question, put your hand down. Reverend Degwa, you had asked a question? I will not allow those who had asked questions to make comments, much as it would still be working well. At the back there, Reverend Gitonga, you keep moving also, eh?
Okay, thank you, moderator and the court. My comment is that these reports of the board, I think it is wise for us even to be receiving those reports annually in the presbytery level, and instead of waiting until the next General Assembly. I think it is important for us to be served with that information so that where we need to chip in terms of supporting those projects, we will not be in darkness. Thank you.
Briefly.
Moderator, we have a very historical moment in this assembly, Moderator Sir, to make it light for the church. And this should be for the honor of one of our Papa, the late Reverend Wanjau. Our fathers envisaged that the foundation will be separated from the learning of the systems of the church. And Moderator Sir, I want to make just a one comment and ask, all these projects that are out there, and they are run, and today we have been given just a recap of the challenges that we have. If we can be able to be put together in the foundation, and the foundation is asking now for money to go to the court for the cases that involve us out there. So we have a movement to put all our businesses under the foundation. We will benefit. Now because we have a challenge of debts, we see it as a problem. But we can also get some reliefs, tax reliefs, if we are doing better. And moderator, I also want to comment on the issues of the office. We need also to move the foundation from the head office, because it seems like they should be dependent there, running our businesses well. And this will allow the members, the board members of foundation, is the head office officials, and all the members from the presbytery. We can learn the project better. And finally, moderator, coming back more near home, I don't think Milele Mall we need to sell another piece of land, because we know the history. Even selling land is not an easy thing. If we cannot be able to save it, sell it. And the money we get, we build something else next to the same land. It is unfortunate that we can sell some or part of our land to pay debts. It doesn't look very prudent. Thank you, moderator.
Dr. Joya.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, Mr. Moderator, Baba. Now, my great problem is that, let me tell you for assurance, it is John Gato and I who moved first the idea of Presbyterian Foundation. Why? Separation of powers, like we have the state separated from the legislature and the executive. We wanted to separate the PCEA from doing business and investments completely, so that we have bought a foundation that can be sued and sue for business and property, but the church cannot be sued. Now, I didn't hear the distinction between the church, can the Bahati or Nyamashaki, I'm wondering, or Shogoria congregation, can it be sold if there are defaults? I want to know, we have debt and liabilities I want to hear that very clearly, moderator. Can it be sold? Cannot be sold because it belongs to a PCEA, but it is not its debt. The debt and the liabilities and everything of the Presbyterian Foundation, as our investor and our business arm, should be as separate as the court from the executive. None can be sued because of the liabilities of the other. Now, I don't hear that distinction anymore, and I support Degwa in questioning where are the separation of powers. We delegated that power of ownership and investment, removed it from the mainstream of the church as the body of Jesus Christ, and gave it to a body which can be sold and sold because it is there to do business for us. So thank you very much.
Level Mora.
Thank you, Moderator, sir. Mine is on the issue touching on the bank. Looking at the figures that were displayed there, it is not a very pleasing report as per my view. And we usually say once bitten, twice shy. I don't feel it is good to still get attracted in another business, yet the already business existing is not well furnished. I would advise, or I would generally give a comment, that it is good they do their homework for 1 or other 2 years before they get there.
Joy.
Thank you, Moderator. Moderator, sir, it's very disheartening to hear matters corruption in the church. Corruption from people who are representatives, ambassadors of Jesus Christ. People who are representing God as it were. My heart is heavy to hear about this university bus that
retraining,
that money was lost. I think we are too lenient. We are too lenient to the culprits of such matters, corruption in the church, to the extent that I feel like His Excellency, the President, is right to say mambo ni matatu. I mean, we must stand firm against fighting corruption in the church. Otherwise, we lost the taste as a church. Let's be more serious, sir.
Level Mushoga.
Asante sana Mheshimiwa Moderator, Baba wa Kanisa. I worked for private sector for 25 years before I joined the church. And then I worked many more years, and then you retired me 19 years ago. The picture I had here, if I present such a picture to shareholders that time, I would not have lasted those years. I would not even have been allowed to go the following year. I was allowed to continue because of something we call efficiency. If there is no efficiency in any setup, you will fail. That's a bad picture. And we are the shareholders who are consuming this report. We will not be happy. But one thing I wanted to ask, if I was there, I would have gone to a consultant, somebody who does not belong to us. And there are very many. Today is not those years, who will look at me and tell me of my weakness. Why haven't they ever gone to a consultant and look at our organization with a microscope? And the consultant will tell you everything, because he fears nothing. He'll leave the report with you, you implement it or you reject it. I didn't hear that we have went to a consultant to ask why our hospitals are failing, why our hotels are failing. And the other thing I wanted just to ask, they're selling land. Who is going to buy that land? Is there anyone connected with us? Maybe somebody who is connected with us want to buy that land.
There's a hard at the back, right there at the back. Reverend Mugambi.
Thank you, more than the assembly at large. My comment is on the church pin that we are using currently. The pin all overloaded that it is becoming very of the institutions.
There's no network where you are.
Okay. Thank you, Moderator, sir. It has come back. So I was saying that the pin the church is using has become so that it is proving to be very difficult.
You need to step forward slightly.
Thank you.
Or get another mic for that matter.
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you, Moderator, sir. I'm saying that the pin that we are currently using as a church has become a major problem in the sense that some of the institutions that are using that pin for business purposes, they are losing a lot of businesses because the government requires that for any business, the pin must be tax compliance. And indeed, this has become a major problem, Bwana Moderator. So I'm asking, is there a way that the foundation can think of helping our institutions that are suffering because of the tax compliance with our PIN? Thank you, Moderator, sir.
Thank you. We can go on and on. There are many hearts still. This is an area that is of great interest. As you can see, there were many questions that were never asked. Comments are still not made. Resolutions are not led. And the day is not young. Looking at the hour, the day is not young. However, one thing that cut across is that we have a challenge. We have to accept it. I talked about it. If you can refer to the acceptance speech I made when you first gave me the office in 2021, I talked about dead horses that we were flogging. I talked about digging holes to find soil, new holes to get new soil to bury old holes. I talked about throwing away good money for bad money. A few of you did not like it. I was accused by a few of you of being anti-development, of wishing to sell PCEA projects. Yet they were not giving us any returns. They have just been taking away from us with the promises. You now hear questions about Jabavu, an old project. So let us objectively look at ourselves and ask ourselves going forward, where do we want to be? If we would remove selfish interests in these matters, I guess we would find a resolution. As Reverend Mushoga has said, a consultant would easily tell us that we are eating and what we need to do. But are we ready to listen to the consultant? If we have interests, we will not listen to the consultant. Therefore, we need to be very objective about our investments. And that's why I got to, I'm glad to report you that in the 3 years, we have not started any new project through borrowing, because we have been struggling to repay what was already there. And it is still challenging to repay because it is still generating interest. At the same time, there are people who would want to make money out of those dying horses. So it's up to us to reflect if that's the direction we want to go. But we are glad that we have bodies that have people who should help us, so that we do not lament every other time. When we meet, instead of giving you checks to take home, we give you tears to take home. I wish we could get to that point. So, hoping that in the 24th General Assembly, we will serve the Lord with faithfulness and with our resources. So I understand why there are so many hearts, but now again we are challenged by time. Foundation, hit the ground running and see what you can do. You are not the cause of the challenges that are there, but we trust you to help us navigate through the challenges that we have. We are glad, like now when we talk about Mirere Apartments, Mombasa, we want to bring in our own people, the region. There have been a lot of push to go for money in the bank. And I have been very hesitant. And I have not gained favor with a few people, because I have said I am not keen on going to the bank for money. And I was being threatened I will not be re-elected because I'm not warming up to getting money and that I want to sell projects. But they are being sold even without me selling them. Even without me selling them, they are getting sold. So why don't we find a viable way of getting out of the holes that we are in? Once again, Foundation, you have our support. Put your best foot forward and do not fear and do not favor. Do what is right. We shall support you. You have heard the sentiments of these people. I know they would have said more if we had time. So let's get to the resolutions.
The resolutions, the first resolution, this GA receives the report of the Presbyterian Foundation under the year in review, that's 2022/2023, and the audited accounts with appreciation. Further, this GA appreciates the good work of the Board of Directors of the Presbyterian Foundation has achieved under the year in review.
Taken.
This GA appreciates the progress made towards reconvening the Church Property and Development Committee at the national level and urges all presbyteries, parishes, and congregations to form the committees as provided for under the Practice and Procedure Manual.
Taken.
This GA appreciates the procurement and development of an automated property management system and urges all the presbyteries to support this initiative in order to ensure that we have streamlined our property records.
Taken.
This GA notes with concern the increase of loans being taken up by presbyteries or institutions and calls for presbyteries to exercise caution by undertaking proper due diligence to avoid overexposure. The GA instructs that any presbytery stroke institution taking up a loan facility should ensure that they have first cleared and met the threshold required in payment of MMF or any other statutory obligations in the church.
Taken.
This GA appreciates the role presbyteries have played in safeguarding the properties on behalf of the church and instructs them to monitor the developments and or investments within their jurisdiction, ensure that all parishes have complied with our Practice and Procedure Manual on registering our properties in the name of the Presbyterian Foundation.
Yes, okay, taken.
This GA is concerned with the status of the Milele Ngong Mall, which has not been performing well, and resolves that the Presbyterian Foundation disposes of the land reserved for the Women's Guild of the four presbyteries, that is Ngong Hills, Kajiado, Milimani South, and Milimani North, comprising of the Hosanna Trinity Center. Further, the GA directs that the said Women's Guild shall execute the sale and the proceeds realized shall be utilized to only reduce the loan, and they shall be given the equivalent shares and rights in the Milele Ngong Mall.
Taken. 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 I hear more no's if I'm not long. Taken. It's foreign. Imeanguka.
Am I allowed to make a comment?
Do. I'm the chair.
No, I note the members have dropped this resolution, but it is worth noting with the status that we have, it is highly likely that the bank might auction this mall. So it is also good to have that at the back of our mind.
We hope you are not the bias. We hope you are not the bias, but it's a reality anyway. It's a reality. That's where we are. That's where we are. If it has fallen and she has made a comment, we leave it at that. We proceed to the next one.
This GA instructs the Health Board to submit its revenue report to the Presbyterian Foundation Board through its secretary, that is the DSG, for monitoring purposes.
Well, I don't know whether there will be any conflict with two studying committees, one reporting to another. I don't know what needs to be done, because it's a good proposal, but at the same time, there could be a hitch. With one reporting to another, how do we make it smooth? Let's hear the Honorary Treasurer.
Thank you, Moderator. And the GA, the business committee, through the resolutions yesterday and the day before, created some committees. One of them is quality assurance that will be based with monitoring the enterprises. So, and the way we look at it, it will still have part of what the foundation is looking at. So I guess that the hospitals can properly be managed or be monitored through the quality assurance committee of the business.
So we do not need that resolution then, if there is a resolution already introducing quality assurance subcommittee that will be able to, across the board, to look at all institutions, departments, and so on. So we can drop that because of the conflict of one department reporting to another, other than the business that has oversight on behalf of the GA.
Thank you for that, Moderator, sir. The last resolution. This GA notes the financial challenges the Presbyterian Foundation has been facing due to its limited financial resources, and notes with concern the possible financial exposure of the church amounting to 454,234,956 from lawsuits. This GA resolves that parishes should pool their resources together to mitigate the escalating cost and contribute a sum of Kenya shillings 50,000 per year to enable the Presbyterian Foundation as an administration cost to handle the legal matters.
Taken? Taken? And then you have to bail her out, or the foundation, because of that situation. Amendment, but you have killed it. You want to amend it, or you have another one? Do you have another resolution that would help in that matter? Do you have it? A resolution that would help on the over 400 million in regard to lawsuits, and a foundation that requires money for the lawsuits that are in all areas. How would you bail them out? Elder Arthur.
Thank you, Moderator, sir, and the commissioners. I have an addition, and this is
in relation to the lawsuits.
Resolutions.
We'll come to additional resolutions, but we wanted first to see how we can help in the situation that has been reported of lawsuits. Is there anyone? Is it Levedolia? Go ahead.
Thank you, Moderator, and the commissioners. We truly sympathize with the foundation that truly the court matters weigh heavily on them, And each of us must think not from where they currently are, from where they could possibly be, so that the Presbytery of Rumuruti can be easily bailed out by the Presbytery of Nairobi North when there is a court matter. So rather than we leaving it to the affected presbyteries, we need a resolution. And moderator, sir, if I'm allowed to read, this would be my resolution. That the GA notes the financial challenges the Presbyterian Foundation has been facing due to its limited financial resources, and note with concern the possible financial exposure of the church amounting to 454 million from lawsuits. This GA directs the Finance Committee to include in its budget a financial figure to mitigate all the costs of the foundation. Further, every presbytery shall contribute an amount of Kenya shillings 100,000 annually to the foundation towards legal matters. Thank you.
Taken? Yes. Taken? Yes. Okay. Mumekataa 50 mkachukua 100. You are rich people. Wewe foundation ndio ulikuwa na tutreat kama maskini, asking us for 50. We wanted a round figure. That is done. We are another resolution. Another resolution. No clarification. You made the bed. Presbyteries. But you are going to write it down. You clarify as you write it down, so you don't have to worry. Another resolution. Do you have a resolution, Reverend Jeru?
Thank you, moderator. The NGA notes with appreciation the good work done by the Presbyterian Foundation. Further, the GA notes with concern the Presbyterian related land undocumented to be documented with urgency through the concerned presbyteries.
Understood? Okay. Then it is dropped. Elder Eunice.
Thank you, moderator and the assembly. Another resolution. The GA notes that the Presbyterian Foundation plays a huge role as the custodian of all assets of the church, and directs that a board recruitment policy be formulated by the business committee to ensure that the board always has professionals with relevant expertise.
Taken? Yes. Elder Joru.
Thank you, moderator, and the members of the business of the General Assembly. The first resolution, the GA directs the business committee that the articles of association of the Presbyterian Foundation be amended to allow the board quorum to constitute 3 elected directors.
Taken? Yes. Taken? Yes. They have not understood where you are heading.
What I'm saying that the current articles of association of the board of directors, the unelected board of directors members can pass any resolution, and that is what happened in the year 2009, where things were just passed without the quorum of elected directors.
Understood the resolution now? Yes. Taken? Yes. Taken? Yes. What am I hearing now?
Yes.
Taken? Yes. Yes, those close to him are saying yes. Those on the other, on the leeward side, saying no. But Take your seat.
Moderator, it would be important to understand the whole concept of the board, how it is formed, instead of passing a resolution that may seem good to us, but we do not understand the whole concept of how the board is formulated. Moderator.
Yes.
Moderator, I think what Elder Joru is saying is quite important, but at the same time, we are under the PP review process. I think that suggestion should be taken to the PP resolution so that it can be entrenched in the Constitution.
Okay, an additional resolution, Elder Guyo. Elder Guyo. Yours has fallen.
The moderator, sir, I was just wanted first to say that the articles of association are actually a different thing from the Constitution, and therefore, this resolution does not really affect the Constitution in any way. It is a resolution of management of the board. It's a governance matter, not a constitutional matter.
Karanja.
Moderator and the Assembly, we have been guided by the Deputy Secretary General on the formation of the board. And that's why the resolution have fallen. So we first of all go as per the advice by the Deputy Secretary General. Thank you, Moderator.
Another resolution. That one's foreign. You are coming up with another one?
The General Assembly directs the Business Committee to ensure implementation of Milele luxury apartments is done between the Presbyterian Foundation in conjunction with the strategic partner Nairobi region and work towards extinguishing the loan charges in the project.
Taken? 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 I thought they reported that they are engaging with the Nairobi region, and maybe the resolution was to give it more punch, that they do engage now with the blessings of the General Assembly. So, would you like to give that favor? Yes. Okay, Dr. Mobui.
Thanks, Moderator and the Assembly. This GA notes with concern the situation of the offices hosting the GA officials. Further, this GA urges the Presbyterian Foundation to prioritize their expansion and modernization.
Taken? Okay. Lever Mushoga.
Thank you, Moderator. I have not written but I want to say something, Moderator, before I propose what I'm suggesting. This church may be carrying a burden which they cannot carry. And I know they fear to lose some of their property. But by losing their property this time, Moderator, they will buy better properties in the future. It will not come at any time when properties will not be available for sale. And maybe this church may be required to clean its house. And you cannot do that unless you go to what I suggested earlier by hiring a competent property consultant to give you a report. That report will not be, it will not be a must, but it will tell you how you should go about this. He may tell you if you follow this report, it will take you another 2 years to come out of your problems. I don't see why we should fear going that direction. Hire a competent property management consultant to give us a report where we are going wrong. Maybe there is we are digging holes, and there is somebody else also digging holes on the other side. We are not seeing him. Let us ask somebody who does not belong to us to look at us and just tell, why are we afraid? I'm suggesting that this GA urges the Presbyterian Foundation to hire a competent consultant to tell us how we look like and what we should do now and maybe in the next 2 years. Maybe we may be told, get rid of the burden you are carrying. Just carry what is fit for you. Those are experts.
Okay.
Thank you, Moderator.
That sounds like a resolution now.
Yes.
Is it taken? Yes. Okay. Across here. On the other, I had allowed you. Then level karaoke.
Thank you, Moderator and the Assembly. I'll put it this way. This GA notes with a lot of concern that our investment institutions continue to suffer perennial financial quagmire, and therefore, this GA resolves that the Foundation ensures that investment institutions tithe to mission, which is the core business of the church.
Taken? Taken? No. Level karaoke?
Moderator, developing what Commissioner Robert Degwa said, I propose this resolution. For better management, cost efficiency, competitiveness, and better return on investment, this GA instructs the Presbyterian Foundation to formulate a policy framework for a possible consolidation of all the church enterprises.
Taken? Taken? It falls. Because it's almost half-half. Had there at the back, Elder.
Moderator and the commissioners of this proposed resolution, that this GA notes with serious concern the threat of civil litigation against our church amounting to 454 million. And this GA directs the foundation to look into the mode of alternative dispute resolution, that is ADR, that is mediation in most of the cases, which can substantially reduce the exposure and report back to the business committee.
Taken? Yes. We are done. Thank you very much for your patience and the work that you are doing on our behalf. Thank you. Clap for them. It's now getting to 2:30.
Yeah, Moderator, it's getting to 2:30. Yes, we are moving on well. We don't have much business remaining, but we still have the PP committee, which we are here to discuss and to give a way forward. But Moderator, I would suggest we now take leave for our lunch, then we come and finish with those not so many
businesses remaining.
We break for lunch now, come back at 3:30. Look at your watch. Unless you can promise you'll take it in half an hour, or you want us to go on for another should we continue or break? Break or continue? Break. They want a break. I'll give them a break. So in an hour? In an hour? Okay. Announcements.
Thank you, Moderator. All lady ministers are requested to meet around this place as we break for lunch. Then hospitality can take over.
Moderator, sir, lunch is ready. We will just go there and take our lunch. And those who have other designated places for their meals, they will go to where they have been going. And we believe we have enough food. Let's give thanks. Father, we thank you for giving us food this afternoon. We receive it with thanksgiving. Bless it as we eat it in Jesus' name.